This is the January 27th, 2020 Sewer and Water Commissioners meeting. At 7 o'clock, we had an executive session, which we just finished up minutes ago, and we are back in open session. We will start with our 7:30 appointment. This is at 225 Spring Street. You're here.
Hi, yes.
Okay.
Want me to stand up?
Sure, and this is your chance to be on TV.
Okay.
If you could get with the microphone so they'll capture...
Sure. Hi, my name is Gina Lisi, my husband Antonio Lisi. We live at 225 Spring Street. We bought that house in April of 2018. And there was a contingency that we would hook up to town water because we have a well. We have a well still.
Mhm.
So the previous owner, Jackie Brady, called the town. They came out and they pinged where the water shut-off would be from the street. And I have pictures and photos if you like. I can give them to you now or later.
These...
I have other ones too, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so I marked these because they're a little bit more clear.
okay.
So they came out, about in April, before April, and they showed us where it was, or they showed her where it was, and she told us it's up on the top of the driveway. We have a plot plan also to show that it's on the driveway. And then back in July, we hired an excavator, he called the town. They came out again and they said, no, it's not here, it's across the street, and they marked it. So it took a few months to get the back and forth, and then he started work in October. So he dug where the town told him, and I said, they told me it was on the driveway. It happened not to be. So they dug, and then they came out and said it wasn't here. So then the town came out again and said, okay, dig about 35 feet at a diagonal, and I have a picture here also for that. And it wasn't there either. And they really didn't know where it was. And then they finally dug where we originally had said it was, and it was only 2 feet over from there. So we were able to hook up, thankfully. They put the meter pit there. But we had to pay an extra $6,000 or so because they had to close the road, get the police detail, he had to hire a different machine to dig through the ledge and whatnot. So we wanted to see what we could do about that because at the end of the day, we originally thought it was there, but we bought the house, we said, okay, great, we put town water, but plus the hookup fee was $3,500 for the permit for us to allow us to hook up to the town water. So it was supposed to be like an $8,000 job, we ended up paying close to $15,000, $16,000.
Right.
So.
Okay, Bernie, if you could...
So I do have to apologize that the water main was in fact located improperly. What my technician did was they took the curb stop that was your neighbor's curb stop, and they measured to where they're hooked up on the water main.
My neighbor to the left.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And then what they did was they perceived the water main to go up Spring Street to Route 1A,
Okay.
and where there's a shutoff there. So yes, in fact, that water main was marked inappropriately. And the day that the contractor was out there, I was out there as well, as the DPW director was as well. And we tried to use the dividing rods as well because we couldn't, any kind of mechanical, we just simply couldn't locate that water main at the time. With the records that we had through Town Hall as well.
Ernie, we couldn't find the main?
We didn't have records with it, John. We only had records up to her neighbor's yard, her neighbor's plot. So,
The owner, the previous owner, so we've been using the well the whole time we've been here, for
Right.
10 plus years.
right, so I don't know who came out to the property before you owned it. I don't know, there was no record of visiting your property to show anyone a location other than how we located in the street. So what finally happened was our department went down after the contractor did their job, and we extended about 4 or 5 feet into the sidewalk, and the water main was found there. So at that point, we tapped the service, we gave them the service onto the property, and we also took care of the road repair as well. So I know that that was factored into the contractor's price, but we also had to pay for police detail as well. So we try to make amends on the side of at least getting the service onto the property.
Okay.
So.
But there's no question that the water main was inappropriately marked.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So we wouldn't have known, we would have had no idea to tell the contractor where the water was unless the water department, well, someone showed us this. Because when we bought the house, this is our driveway, and this hole wasn't, like, this square cutout was not there before we bought the house. Because she said the town came out and marked it here. She used the terminology painted it.
Yeah, there was,
I don't know what that means,
if
but-
you weren't on town water, there would have been nothing for them to ping other than a possibility of having the water main there.
I think
And-
that's what they
And the
think.
water main's 5 feet down, and generally, unless you have a curb stop, which is, that's round circle that's right in front of your property there.
Yeah.
Unless that's there, there's no way really to determine where that water main is. So I don't know what she means by pinging, or there.
But the connection was on the property, so we
Yeah.
would have no way of knowing that unless someone from the town came out and told us this is where it is, which in fact, that is exactly where it was located.
Well,
Yeah.
No, I'm sure
All right.
you, I mean.
I don't have-
I'm
I don't
telling
have-
you we have, yeah.
I don't have any record of that, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can show, want these pictures, they're marked with A, and if that makes sense.
How much you asking for?
Well, this is what, we ended up paying a total of $11,188.34, but 6,200 of that was because of the police detail, ledge block, dewatering, permits, bonds, engineering on suitable material, protective fencing, street opening, trench permit, so that was all broken up here. I asked the contractor, because he initially said to us it would be around $5,000 to $6,000 from the area where I showed him.
Right.
And then when he checked with you guys and we came out and it ended up being a lot
Marked it
more
wrong.
because he had to get a different machine and dig deeper and.
So
There
is
was
there
no
work
mulch, though.
that the contractor said, I'm going to have to do this, this, and this?
Yes.
And obviously they did some, because they did start some digging. Are there some items that they didn't do and said, okay, you don't have to pay for, I don't know, did they have police details
They did.
that the
Well, no,
contract?
they wouldn't have if it wasn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if they quoted you a price that, and he itemized it out, and there were certain things that he didn't do because it ended up that the town did, did he
Oh, I understand what
take
you're
those off and say, okay, you
Yes.
only owe me X number of dollars?
He did,
Okay.
because the town, they did
Right.
finish the tarring of the road and they.
Yeah, okay, no, I was
did
just-
something, Which was great, yes.
Yeah.
No, he did, but he added, but this was an additional cost because
Okay.
he had to go across the street now and it was a
Right.
whole day to find it.
Yeah,
and that
no, I
first day,
understand.
yeah,
I just
they
was
didn't
trying to
find
say,
it.
was there some work that
Yes.
he planned on doing that he didn't do
Well, the
because the
town-
town
yes.
picked it up?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, because of the police details, the extra work, extra machinery, that was
Yeah.
all unnecessary
that
cost.
was.
right,
what
no,
we
if
put
they
on
were spent,
here.
they were spent, and
Yeah,
there's-
but no, he didn't charge, obviously, he didn't charge us for what the town
right.
ended up doing after.
I think the circumstances are regretful. We did collect an entrance fee.
I,
That comes to mind.
yes, I'm inclined to, we
We did
waive
pay
the entrance fee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did pay the entrance.
Bernie, the main was across the street?
The main was not across the street, the main was in the sidewalk in front of their house.
It was right on our property.
We
Yeah.
marked the water main across the street,
Right.
John.
Okay. Where was all the ledge?
There wasn't a ledge.
There was no ledge.
That's what he wrote on here.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well, that's a
don't know what
contingency,
ledge
that's,
looks like or
that's,
not,
that's,
but
a lot of contractors put a contingency in for
Oh,
ledge.
okay.
Well, that's what that was.
And I used someone that you guys had recommended,
Yeah.
to Filipio.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think that we
That's the house way down the bottom of the hill there.
waive,
Yes.
that we should
Used to
waive
be
the entrance
Rossi or
fee.
something.
Yeah,
We can
Rossi,
credit
Reverend
the
Rossi.
account with that. Mary, that, we can do that, right?
I believe so, yes.
For future water use? And
Yeah.
no sewer, no sewer, just water.
we have a septic.
Yeah.
Septic,
Yeah.
okay, for future water use, that makes sense to me.
What they would do is put that credit on your water bill, so until that was used,
You wouldn't get a water
you
bill.
get a water charge.
You'd get a sewer
Get a $0
charge.
bill. Yeah.
There is no- she's
Oh,
not
there is
septic.
no sewer, right, so you'd only get it once you
So whatever
used up
the
the,
entrance fee was.
Oh, so you'll waive the entrance fee?
Right.
Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we waive the entrance fee and credit it to the customer's account.
is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted.
Can you please explain that? So we're gonna get a credit on our water bill?
For $3,500.
You won't have a water bill until you've used $3,500 worth of water.
So they're meeting us halfway, because, right?
Yeah,
Assuming?
right.
Yeah.
No, we're meeting you the whole way.
The entrance, the whole entrance.
The whole entirety of the entrance
Well,
fee,
then,
yes.
Yeah,
they're out an
right.
extra 6,200 because
Right.
we didn't need to pay that initially.
Yeah.
If he
And-
just dug from the street, from the sidewalk.
It was mismarked, our records were not correct, and that's why,
But we told you where to dig.
Well, no, that's where the town, that's where the town told us initially.
no, I understand.
Brady.
And that's why we're waiving the
And we
entrance.
typically
fee.
don't waive more than what we've collected from a customer. That's just been standard
But the
policy.
police detail and all the other stuff was basically unnecessary. If you dig on our property, we don't need a police detail, and we wouldn't need all that extra machinery. And the contract would have been done in a lot sooner.
Yeah, and
That's basically our motion, is because you informed him twice to dig in the incorrect location, he had to come out and there was delay of the extra machinery. That's basically what our argument is that we told you where to dig. I mean, we prepped for this. This wasn't done spur of the moment.
No, I understand.
want
Yeah,
to
we
know
wouldn't
where-
have bought the house, I mean, we
Yeah.
really wanted to be able to hook up to town, we don't want to rely on the well.
Right.
You know.
I'm glad you did. Yeah, I understand.
But, I mean, so can we get the, what was the amount again?
It was 620334.
Yeah, we're asking
Is
for
what the,
62.
I mean, this is what our, he itemized the bill
Right,
from
And you
the
have that in front of you.
yeah. Is there interest on the board of adjusting or adding additional to the entrance fee? Maybe splitting the,
Is there precedence for waiving beyond fees we've collected? Have we done that in the past?
had a situation like this that
There's never, I
Yeah.
talked to the DPW director that had my position before me, and there has been none.
I'm comfortable with my motion in the second, but
well, I'm just asking if
I'm
there's,
open to what other people think.
is there any interest on extending beyond what we've already voted?
No.
And there does not appear to be, so this is what that's what we're going to do.
It's my first time doing this kind of.
No,
so
it's
I
fine.
really don't know what the proper,
No, you came,
yeah.
and
But I just feel like, thank you for your time and for meeting us, But I just feel like we paid a lot more than we needed to for a mistake wasn't our fault. I understand what you're saying though, because, it was marked
All right, well,
correctly and you guys did.
I'll make to see if there is a vote. I'll make a motion that we split the extra, and that's what, 4,900. Split that 50/50.
What's the
So it's
4,000? So it's.
That's the work that,
Yeah, would you like to look at the?
Oh,
We've
you-
given,
do-
we've offered 3,500, so what is the extra?
this is the work, the amount of money that they spent that was basically wasted.
I don't have that.
Oh, you don't? Oh,
Yeah, you should have that, Glenn. Everything's together.
This here?
Yep,
okay.
right there.
That's,
Yeah.
okay, I do
That's
have
the
that.
breakdown.
Mine just doesn't have color on it.
So I'm making a motion to split the 4,985.
On top.
So what is the 3,500? So, I mean, I just want to understand 3,500 goes to offset what, and now we're splitting
The entrance
this.
fee, 3,500 is the entrance fee. The rest is money that we had to unnecessarily pay.
Well, the entrance fee was something that everybody pays.
Right.
Right.
So the 4,985 was what you paid over and above?
Over and
No,
above.
actually, we paid over and above 620334.
I think we paid more than half, and, I mean, you want to split the difference, so
Well, they're,
of 6,200, we're offering 3,500.
No, 3,500 was just.
The 3,500, they would pay
That's separate.
anyways.
We were paying that anyway, we paid that.
Right.
Wait, the 3,500 was the entrance fee, the 6,200 was money, cost that we unnecessarily incurred because the contractor had to go back and forth because you guys, the town inappropriately twice marked.
So 6,200
Yeah.
minus 3,500.
No.
No,
No.
no.
Well, why are we giving back the entrance fee? I mean, I don't understand.
Well, if there is,
As a
I'm just
mitigation,
seeing if there is interest in, because there was work as a result of us not marking the place.
$3,500 is my interest. I mean,
Sure.
Right.
I'm just.
I'm just
I'm
saying,
asking
if
what-
there is, I mean, there,
Should
so
have
that
been
we-
half the extra money they had to spend.
that's what I was
Just
suggesting.
the entrance fee.
There's a police car up there.
You're gonna pay an entrance fee anyhow.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
so we can undo that and say half, but then that would be,
Would that be less than
I think it would
3,500?
be less if it's
So
half of
he's
six.
actually
looking
proposing
for me.
to offer you less, and
No,
I'm suggesting that we not give you less, I'm suggesting we give you more.
I thought they
So
were
you're
the
talking about the
treatment plant.
6,200 that we extrally paid extra. You would split that with us. you know,
Right.
Which would be less than 3,500.
Versus giving us back the entrance fee or giving us a credit towards our water for $3,500.
Yeah, I'm just seeing if there's interest on the board of going beyond the
See,
3,500.
Does not, for
And
me.
there does not appear to be a second to my motion, so. So,
So,
It's unfortunate.
I mean, it's a mistake, and I understand mistakes happen and it wasn't.
Right.
You know, I get that, I'm not ignorant about that, but
It's kind
we
of
still
rare.
paid a lot more than what.
I understand, we're tempted to see if we would go further, and there
no
was
avail.
not a second on that, so. Okay,
All right, so you'll just, so now how do we go about the credit will be placed on our.
all right. Yeah, and Mary, would you send them a letter noting that, yes, it has been credited, so that they have a record for it? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. We have a 7:45 appointment. Okay. Oh, I'll be with you in a second.
No, but I mean.
Oh, yeah. That would
You can have a
work.
run
Keep
in
a
town.
record of it. Yeah, that would be great. Okay.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
okay, thank you. Okay. Maura and Steve Griffin.
Yes.
29 Albany Road.
Yes, thanks for arranging this time for us, because the reason we're here is that I actually spoke with Mary Timmelty back on January 8th,
Yep.
because we got another bill, or maybe, we started looking into this, and just to disclose, our daughter was seriously ill this year, and my mother was seriously ill, so I have not been paying attention, unfortunately, to things that I really wish I could have sooner, and just to disclose that, but we kind of wanted to talk to you guys because, we got a big bill, and, my husband had called and talked to, I think somebody had called and spoken to him from your department to let us know that, we used a lot of water,
Yes.
and, unfortunately, I didn't look at my, we don't get the multiple times for starters, and I definitely didn't look at the web. But we did put in a brand new irrigation system. We had, I do want to tell you, we got a long, big juicy bill that was 25 years ago, and we haven't had one. So we finally said we're gonna take care of it. We put in a line, and we had to water it. And I think this year was a real challenge in regards to, it was either really rain or it was so dry. And we spent a lot of money on that, we needed to water it. We did not know it was gonna cost us this money.
Were you aware of, did you follow the water management program, which would have been, you're an odd numbered house, so it would have been on, Mondays and Thursdays would have been your watering days?
I thought it was every other day.
No,
Twice a week.
twice a week. We did, no, a few years back, it was even odd, and so you would get 3, But to hold demands so that we can meet them, we had to change that to twice a week. That's been, this is at least the second, if not the third year in that.
Yes.
But
We've been water on one for 25 years, so I apologize.
Yeah.
Well, hoping that one of our things we could get for some type of abatement bill was, the first bill was $2,000, $2,200.
So,
And my bill before that was, it's usually $230.
yeah,
So.
But it's understandable, you know, when you irrigate, obviously,
Well, my thing was when I talked to the guy at the water department, I wish he said he could get a separate meter
Yeah.
for the irrigation. I mean, because the sewer charge was at least half of that. And so the water's not going in the sewer, it's going into the ground.
Yeah, we could do a sewer rate.
and that's something that we have in the past, that people's, let's say you have a pipe breaks in your basement, the water didn't go in the cellar, I mean, went in the cellar, not in the sewer, we can make an adjustment on your sewer bill. That's
So
something,
kind of what we're looking for, because
yeah. The water went through the meter, you used it,
Yeah.
however,
we could get some type of
Yeah.
help with the sewer charge, because it was about half, so it was like $1,200, and then the next one was about $600.
Is there a way
Do
to,
that for everybody.
but we do that on everybody who has
Well,
something
For leaks.
for leaks.
that's true, I mean.
Well, that's true.
this is just.
One of the things that we're always
following the
careful
rules.
about is, what have we done in the past? And what I've described as leaks, where, we've had cases where people forgot to turn off, they had a hose running and,
The 8-year-old kid leaves the water on in the
right,
back, you know?
or
Right.
they have a pipe breaks and obviously they got a lot of damage, but the water didn't go down on the, into the sewer, so we've made adjustments there.
Judy can figure this out, you know.
Oh, I know.
But also, the rate we charge for a separate irrigation meter is a higher rate.
Yes, it
Am I-
is.
Am I correct? And so they would be getting a
And-
lower rate and a discount on the sewer, which seems like it's not fair to the people who have gotten the
Right.
second meter.
Right.
So it sounds like there is a formula that could be calculated that would figure it out.
Judy,
But it would,
Judy would be able to figure out how much,
I mean, they should pay the higher rate like everyone who, they should have the exact same scenario
Yeah.
that an irrigation meter.
well, here's.
well,
what
they should pay for the
basically-
water that went through the meter.
Yeah.
But the excess water, and she can see, because she can see the whole record.
Right.
Right.
She
But
knows that there's a big,
But at the higher rate is what
My
I'm saying.
point is you're setting a precedence.
That's,
Well, if we were to go down this rate, what I would say is that you would say, okay, let's assume that we adjust the sewer rate based on, past usage. The other water would be addressed not at the residential rate, but as if they had a second meter, which is a higher, you're immediately into tier 3, if I remember the rates correctly.
Believe you're right.
And it might not be,
big difference.
It might not be
And
lucrative.
their sewer would be charged 100%.
and the sewer would be charged 100%.
Right.
Right.
so just rebate the sewer.
I'd like to
Well,
see what that calculation is, to be
yeah.
honest with you. I mean, I don't know that there might be $100 and there might not be.
You can take what they normally use.
Yeah, but what we're suggesting is that, okay, we could do that, because we've done that sort of calculation before.
Right.
But the water that was used for irrigation, definitely you have to pay for that water. The question is, do you pay as if it was used in the house, or do you pay as if you had a second meter, which is at a higher rate than the residential
Right.
rate? In
But
which
they don't-
case, there's a question as to...
Might be
They're
going
better off paying
the other
what
way.
they
Yeah.
I mean, if you negate the sewer charge,
Well, and then that they would pay the full sewer. I mean, I'm just
100%
saying,
of the-
pretending they had
the regular sewer.
a second meter for their irrigation.
they're still gonna win on that,
Are they?
because
They're
the,
going to go into the fourth one.
just the,
That's what I'm thinking, that it could end up being more expensive.
It's 12,000 cubic feet, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
Or more than. So, I mean, without seeing that number,
yeah.
and I don't know if we want to explore that or not. Also, I mean, isn't there a $250 charge for a second irrigation meter?
why don't we have
Yeah.
Judy try and figure it out and come back with us?
If she's,
This is the lady who sees the whole thing
Okay.
and can tell your regular usage and your excess usage.
Okay.
And she can tell us, she doesn't know any of us, so She's just looking at numbers. She
Okay.
can tell
Okay.
what the difference is.
And one other thing that we just want to keep, as Mary has correctly mentioned, is that we are always looking to see what have we done in the past, because once we set a precedence, it's not for you, it's for you and everybody going forward, so.
Why would anyone
where this
get a
isn't.
second meter? I might say.
No, well, this would be, for this particular type of case as opposed to where, it was a leak as opposed to
Also,
actual usage.
Mr. Chairman, just to let you know too, on every bill, it says the water and sewer rates effective, and it tells when the rates were effective as well. So
Right.
it is right on each and every one of the bills.
I'm sorry, it says-
It says you'd said that there were different rates that you weren't understanding of the new rates,
Every time that it goes up.
but it's actually,
It's on
it's
the
actually
bill,
right
on
on
the
the bill.
message thing,
What
this,
date is that?
This bill went out in October,
But that's the problem.
Well-
but the new rates were in effect.
this is the second year that we've had this inclining
Right.
block rate, so if we look back a year ago, your water bill would have shown the same thing, only the numbers would have been lower, but the blocks would have been the same, and that message is the same, it's just the numbers change, because the rates change. But
From
we've
year
had
to year.
two rate hearings
We
where
also
we
had an insert,
introduced.
we put an insert that when we first did this 2 years
Right,
ago. We
it
had an
was,
insert in
mine
everybody's.
came as an orange.
Yeah, it
thing.
was
So it's,
bright colored.
So
we've done, I
historically,
think, adequate notification of the people, having a rate hearing, 2 years ago, a year ago, another one, and sending out a notice to all customers showing the blocks and going even deeper than what the message, because it only lists the residential and commercial, it doesn't cover the second meter for irrigation. So
right.
You know what I wish? I wish when the town called my husband in
Right.
2019, someone said, you're using a lot of water, you realize you're spending more money? And we might have, at that point,
Yeah.
clicked, and I told you, I wasn't
Well,
paying attention.
that's the whole idea when we call to tell you that you have higher usage, you are spending more money.
They
One
never
goes
said that
hand,
to me either.
well,
Well,
one
but you
goes,
should know you're spending money for each
I-
cubic
it's just-
foot. I
but
mean,
we didn't
one
get-
goes hand in
that
hand.
big
We just
bill.
had paid one bill that was $230.
Yeah,
so
but
I didn't
it-
think I was gonna get 2,200.
you know you pay by usage though, so if you, and I think I've heard.
Well, I get that, I
Yeah.
got $2,000 for one bill, for one quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, and half of it was sewer, and so,
That's why we're.
and the water wasn't going in the sewer, it was going into the.
No, it wasn't, yeah, so a second meter
Going
would
back
have
to the water
worked.
table.
In your
So-
situation, second meter probably would have been a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I wish the guy said,
Yeah.
I mean, I should have been on top of it too, but he
Yeah.
could have said, how about a second meter?
That's what we were trying to say.
Yeah.
How about, so that's why we're just looking for a break here.
I think what we can do is look at it in a couple different ways, seeing, as we sort of described, does it make sense to adjust the bill based as if you had a second meter? And the rates are much higher because the rate structure is set up that essential water use is at a lower rate, non-essential is at a higher rate.
If you get a chance, look at the rules for having a second meter. There's a whole bunch of things
It's
that
right
factor
online.
in. Yeah, it's online, and read through it. There's a lot there.
I think we could just put this on our agenda, Mary,
You have to pay
to,
100% of sewer instead of 80% of sewer. So actually, your sewer rate on your regular water usage would go up. So you want to just keep that in mind. Yeah, it's a little confusing, but
We'll figure it out.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're gonna get back to us.
yes, we will.
Okay.
So it's on our agenda to, where we can see, and it may be that it's more expensive to do what we've just suggested, in which case I'm sure you're not interested in taking an option that costs more than what you're already into,
Right.
so.
But in
Right.
that case, we still look at the sewer piece.
We would look at it in conjunction, like I say, if you have a second meter for irrigation, which a number of people have, then we assent that all the water that went through your regular meter was used in the house and ended up in the sewer. So that's why we, on sewer, if you have a second meter, you're charged for 100% of the water, whereas you're only charged normally 80% of your water. We assume that 20% didn't end up, and of course, it's just an average. We don't meter sewerage, so we have to pick a number, and we we picked that 80% of water that goes into a house ends up in the sewer, so. But we'll
Take it under advisement.
and we'll see what we can do, and we will get back to you one way or another. Here's what we've decided, and, provide you the information that we went through to arrive at the decision.
Mary, is it?
Mary Frisbee?
Mary,
There's two Marys in
I
here.
know, that's
Yeah.
also, are you Mary Frisbee?
Yes.
Okay. Will you email us, or will you call us, or what are you thinking you will do?
I usually send a letter out.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay?
Okay,
What do you
thank
think?
you.
Any
Yeah.
questions?
No.
Any timeline, you think, you know?
Our next meeting is second
Monday.
Wednesday.
Second Monday.
That's not a holiday.
I don't believe
President's
it
Day,
is.
we're going to just check to see.
Sure, no problem, thank you very much.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day, is it?
No, it's like a Friday, I think. My wife has already told me that. That's so she wouldn't forget to give me a card, you know.
I understand that.
February 10th.
February 10th would be us, so. Okay,
Thank you very much for your time.
all right.
Moving right along.
Yep, okay. Comment request number 1, Zoning Board of Appeals. This is that,
This is where Leo's Pizza is, Mr.
yeah,
Chairman?
and there's a building behind,
And there's a small garage as well, yes. I believe they're both being taken down, and
Yeah.
one commercial development is being placed. I went over this with the town engineer today. He does have a small footprint plan, and they don't show any water system going into the building, but they do show a sewer line coming out, so it's very preliminary at this point.
What does this mean? If you look in there, it says 3,
yeah, I was gonna,
second, third,
I can
floor
tell you what that is. That is
What
the
is
schedule, it's the 5B is the schedule of use regulations, and the 3 is residential, and G is dwelling must be connected to sewer within business district. Area of the dwelling units above ground shall not exceed 3.5 times the floor space used for commercial. So it's basically, and when they talk second and third floor, I'm thinking, oh, both buildings, they want to have residential on the
top.
second and maybe third. But now it appears that they're tearing down things and building, which
I
is,
heard they have a zoning issue. Bottom is going to be commercial, and then there's going to be 2 floors of residential.
Yes.
A total of 18 units.
Are they tearing down the build, is this Leo's?
there's 2 buildings.
That's gone, and the
There's-
one behind it.
Yeah.
They're both gone.
I believe so, yes.
That's very confusing, because I thought the
Yeah.
same, that they were gonna.
Well, that's what I'm just looking too. I had the same thing, looked up the
took a
zoning
look
to
at
find
them
out what the heck. I thought, oh,
I
there's
looked at them
something.
today.
All right.
Let's take a look at this before you.
So as you'll see on the plan, there's no water there, and there's just one sewer lateral that comes out.
Well, how can that be?
That's just the way they drew it, and I explained to, I explained to the town engineer that that's something that we need to see before any type of approval is made.
They have 18 units?
Yes. on the second and
Residential
third
units?
floor.
So you would think that they at least would have to have a sprinkler line, they'd have to have a separate domestic line.
So right now,
Nothing-
they've got,
there's
this
nothing
is
on-
the pizza and this is the,
And so how big is
Nothing
this
on
building on
the
the drawing?
drawing.
Because you're not seeing those drawings.
That's the
because
lot.
They're trying to resolve.
It's almost
zoning
full, isn't it?
first.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, it's full of house.
So no comment, read it noted, or whatnot?
Well, maybe we would just send that they have not supplied sufficient information for
For us to make a decision.
the water and sewer department to comment, and that
Yes.
we'd like them to come before the board to the Sewer and Water Commission to explain what they're
How are
proposing.
they gonna get water into it? Well,
Okay. Got a motion that we'll send a note to the ZBA saying that there's insufficient information provided at this time, and that we are looking to have them come to before the board. We got a second on that? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted.
This next one, Glenn, I think is this your neighbor?
Next
Yeah.
door to you. Yeah.
I probably should
Yeah.
abstain, I don't know.
Well, I don't know, you have any,
I think, no,
I mean, you can abstain.
I'll abstain.
Okay.
It's only a notice of intent, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
They
it's
just want
notice
to
of
build a
intent.
house.
what's he doing?
It's a notice of intent.
Yeah.
Intent to,
It's to the Conservation
To the
Commission. It's
conservation.
right next to a brook. They
I know,
gotta
I
do-
know,
Right.
yeah,
but what
so-
are they intending? This is,
They can build a
this is,
single-family house. Build a
Single-family house.
oh, on the tool and die making place there.
No,
Right-
no,
right next door. There is a sewer lateral and a water, and a water service to the property. They did that because Stone Street had just been rehabilitated.
And that's a spot zoning anyway there.
So there is no red noted on that for an A and R.
So we'll need to have more information as it comes through.
Well, in this case, if they've already had if we've already got a connection is there, and then it's just a case of them paying the entrance fees.
Right.
You know, what conservation wants to
do is-
restriction, that's their
exactly.
business.
Okay.
Okay. Number 3, Zoning Board of Appeals. And this one,
Do we have this, Mary?
this is the Summer Street
This is,
40B.
how many units here?
What is it?
Oh, my Lord.
300.
Yeah, it's 300 plus.
Well, at this point, we're just making comments, and there is water and sewer comments in here
Right.
towards the end.
I'm
Forwarded to the
interested in
state.
rights of way.
We've already made comments that we'd have to have peer review.
Yep.
Let's see. Number 7, the Water and Sewer Commissioners will seek a full analysis that the project can provide and sustain adequate, if not superior, water capacity and pressure to provide full fire protection from hydrants, sprinklers throughout the project. Commissioners may need to discuss the possibility of the applicant funding an additional water storage/pressure unit in the community. Also, it says in the terms of sanitary sewer utilization, the Sewer and Water Commissioners will require the developer take every precaution to avoid the same negative impacts that was dealt with since the preserve came online in the early 2000s. Specifically, the design of the complex must include all requirements of our Sewer and Water Commissioners and Department of Public Works to ensure that outward sewer flow is directed in a manner that prevents impacts on the existing system, eliminating all odor from the waste discharge in our system, and prevents long-term capacity surges downstream in our system. The Sewer and Water Commissioners will need a definitive site plan, which includes an intended infrastructure. A looped water system is imperative.
That's what I want to know.
The project will need to undergo peer review with respect to project impacts this project will have on the existing infrastructure, particularly water and sewer. So that's right in,
What I want to add is number 11 regarding minimizing the use of, no, that's in the business where it mentions about the preserve. I'm interested in the minimizing
Use of
the
irrigation.
irrigation on this area.
We want the money.
Well-
You can't do that.
I'm going to make a
We need the
motion that we
revenue
add the 11.
We got to be careful what we wish
so
for.
Patrick, I did preliminarily go over this with the town engineer. We've
And-
taken a look at those. It's very preliminary. The infrastructure on there is not quite what we'd like to see. Some of the buildings don't even have both water and, domestic water and sprinklers, so
This
all
is
that.
for a 40B. Once they submit things, you have to come back. A clock starts ticking, and the town has to come back with
We'll
comments.
wind up.
So, at this point, these things,
Can
all
change.
this stuff could change, and it's not
Gonna
the real
happen.
stuff.
Exactly.
So I'm making a motion that we add an 11th item related to that we want them to minimize the amount of irrigation systems on their development.
I'll second. Can I just ask Pat what he means by you've got to be careful for what you wish for? Real question.
The revenue stream.
Oh, okay. But we don't want people spending money into the...
Well, if you don't want to sell
You don't,
water, you're not going to have any money.
We've calculated this out to be, I believe, 60,000 additional gallons a day
Right.
from this project alone.
And
The way
that
it's presented right now.
And those are the Title V calculations,
Right.
which do not include irrigation.
Right.
That's all. And I understand what you're saying, Pat. I'm just saying,
Irrigation, you can make this is, what is this, what area what? This is,
it would be 3 or 4.
they're recharging the aquifer.
When you put a irrigation thing, a lot of it goes into the air in evaporation.
And that comes back, doesn't it?
Can I ask a question about
Yes.
impervious surfaces? Is that a concern for us?
Are you done with these?
Or limiting impervious surfaces? Because
Well, I think
water's
it-
not gonna get recharged if
No,
if
I
it
think
came
what it
through.
would be a case of, they'll tell them how much parking and roadways.
Yeah. Is there a question of maximizing, non-impervious surfaces, or is that not
That would be, I believe that's conservation.
Concom? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, I made a motion that we add 11, that we wish them to minimize the amount of irrigation. Is there a second?
I seconded it, yeah.
All right.
And all looping availability should be,
It says it right in there.
Right there.
Number
Yeah,
number nine.
where's that?
Number 9. Number 9 is looping.
You're not on the right one.
No, you're on the
right
wrong one. It's the last page of comment request number 3. So you got to go to number 3.
Not on the right one. Unbelievable. It's all right. Yeah.
Pat wants to see the
I did have another quick question while he's doing that, probably,
Okay.
possibly for Bernie,
water
but do we
system
know
is
if there'll be
garbage.
any pumping of sewer? Or is it all gravity?
All possible,
Yeah.
all possible loops.
Are we not at that point where we would
No.
have that?
Not just one, maybe we need 2 or 3. We don't know. It depends on, I can't even
having
figure
the
this
peer
on the map.
review it'll probably Weston and Sampson, just like the Renmar Road. and
Where is this
Wright
thing?
Pierce.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna use, if the town's gonna use the same peer
Oh, okay. In the
engineering.
past, we've used those 2 and we potentially could. Anyways, we got a motion and a second. Is there all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pat, are you voting, so
No,
are you
I'm still
voting
looking
no?
at the site plan about and possible looping. I'm
You're
still
no, okay, because you said
fixated on
aye,
the looping.
John, do you understand?
as opposed to nay.
You said opposed, and I said aye.
All right, so we have Pat,
Put me down as abstain.
we have a 2-1-1. I mean, it's really is comments that are being made as regards to the 40B. It's,
Doesn't carry any weight.
Do you want to reword it so that they look at the effect of irrigation as opposed to minimize, and maybe be softer in
no,
your
at this
language?
point, no, I don't think it's worth,
You know,
Maybe with John's
irrigation
here.
is the best way to water. Okay, it's the most efficient way. So to say we're not going to let any irrigation, that's really
yes, okay.
counterproductive. It
Correspondence.
sounds good.
Correspondence number
It's
1.
counterproductive.
Jarvis Farm permit application, Mick Morgan's overflow parking for a 5K fundraiser. We have the application. This is the 6th year. They have allowed the town to use their area for overflow, and in the past, we've allowed the Jarvis Farm. All right, is there a second? All those in favor
No,
say
no,
aye.
I want to talk on this.
All right, Patrick, go ahead.
Of course you do.
You know, if we hadn't bought this and a private entity had bought it, we would have required that that entity provide parking lots that protected the aquifer. Yet, since the town owns it, we're going to let 100 cars park there that can only, this is not a good thing. They're not going to improve the aquifer. They're going to harm it, just by virtue of them being machines. So I can't in good conscience vote yes on this. There's no way.
All right.
And I don't see how my brother commissioners can vote on this yes.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
All right. We need to sign this. Just one signature, Mary?
No, I think it's all of this.
Oh, okay. Pat, you want me to sign you up here?
No, I don't think it does.
I've been trying for years, and he hasn't fallen for it yet. All right. Okay, correspondence 2, a request for an abatement at 5 Eldor Drive. They had a water main break. It says a water main break.
I would say it's probably the service leak or their service break.
So basement was flooded. A pipe broke within their house.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
So
Yeah, his was that can go in the sewer into the basement.
okay, and that's our standard practice, so make a motion that we address their sewer bill based on, it was a the water did not go into the
Is that
sewer.
an abatement of $234.32?
No, we figure it out, but we can,
It is 232.
Oh, is it?
I'm sorry, it's 226.10.
22610.
I'll move this, that we approve the abatement
All right.
of 226.
Well, on the second
No,
page, if
no.
you look,
Calculated out. She
Oh,
was
okay.
estimating.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it's $234.32.
I'm sorry. That's
Let's
right.
keep changing.
It's not, it's on the
The
second page.
first was an
Patrick.
email with an estimate.
Second page, Patrick.
I'm getting there.
Okay,
All right, 234, I amended.
okay. We have a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. All right, correspondence number 3, consideration for charges for a leak. A lot of leaks here. All right, this is 11 Hoover Road.
What is he asking for?
That seems that they were out of the country and they
But
possibly
it was
had
a toilet issue.
leaky
This
toilet.
one, unfortunately, is not, the water did go into the
Right.
sewer.
This happened to me too,
Yeah.
last weekend. Judy called me.
Oh, she did?
Oh yeah, one of my tenants left there.
didn't-
The water
I
run.
got a call today.
Yeah, you got a call too.
You guys are great.
You got one too?
8 a.m. this
All right.
morning. Yeah.
Okay.
Mine was 12,000 gallons.
Oh, wow.
Wow, really?
I don't know what mine is yet.
Should lock you
Make a
up.
motion that we
No, they're gonna
inform the user that the water went through the meter and that no adjustment is warranted.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. All right, John's not here. He asked about the Optima hydrant location. If you recall...
And
the-
Sharon.
Yeah, and it was like, we just want to move it a couple feet back in the, if I recall, I think when we had the engineer here, he said, no, that's not a problem. We could move it so that the hydrant is in Walpole as opposed to Sharon.
I have not seen an updated plan that the hydrant has been moved, but I will ask to make sure that that is taken care of and that I see those plans.
Okay.
In
One more
accordance with
question
the...
here. Why are we moving it?
So they're on Walpole.
Yeah, but why are we moving it?
So that the hydrants are in Walpole,
So what?
not in the Sharon. John's
Been
concerned,
there for
no, no,
50 years?
no,
is
no,
the
this
new-
is for the new
This is
development.
Optima, this is
The
for the
ac-
Optima,
Hotel behind
Hotel.
Applebee's.
Are they gonna move it?
the half and half.
They haven't even gone in
They're going
yet.
to extend,
Are they, who's moving this, the town or?
it isn't
It
in yet.
hasn't been placed yet,
It's,
Patrick.
we want it to, on the map, on the,
When they're placed, they want to be placed in Walpole and not Sharon.
Okay, they're gonna replace it anyway.
No, when they are placed.
They're not existent right now.
No, there's one that's in Sharon.
no,
Not
no,
on
no,
this
no.
side.
Yeah, we saw the map. There was one that's in Sharon by a couple of feet.
No, that's what they're proposed to do. The building,
Right now, there's been in Sharon all these years.
Well, we don't want to move any hydrants.
Yeah,
This is
I would-
Is
placement
that the
of
one you're
hydrants.
talking about?
no.
No,
Okay,
Okay, you're not talking about that one.
they must be 2 additional fire hydrants for the actual proposed.
and it's at the end of the line so
Right.
that they can blow it
so
out or
they
whatever.
can- They can be flushed appropriately.
And John's concern is that they own a lot of land beyond and doesn't want anything go on so that they could say, hey, it's already into Sharon, we can extend it.
That's gonna be
I
up to us
addressed-
anyhow.
I know, but, so I think that we could, Bernie,
Yes.
follow up on it.
I
We
will.
can send a note to the zoning board as well as the planning board, Mary, stating that we want the...
Hydrants placed in
and
Walpole.
Bernie can identify some language to
Can
identify.
I just clarify, we want the fire chief to approve of any
Well,
such...
John says that when he spoke to me, he said that he had spoken to the fire chief, and the fire chief
That's-
says, yes, I want it in Walpole.
My number one concern is
Yes.
that the fire chief is happy.
I talked to,
Because I believe that both fire and police from Walpole are responding to that.
Yes,
to that
right,
area.
yeah, so I want them to be
I talked to
happy with the
NWRA
placement.
about this.
Okay.
And I said to them, what John Hassenjagger said, once you get the water lines and everything else into this lot, what prevents you from taking that lot and going to the Sharon Board of, whatever they are, the zoning board, and make it one big lot,
Right.
okay? So now, since it's already going into the lot, it can go, a quarter mile.
No, I think the agreements prohibit that.
Say that again?
The agreements that we signed and approved prohibit that.
Yeah, I was just looking, I dug out
well,
the thing,
make
that
sure
the
that it's a-
total annual gallons of water delivered to this water extension should not exceed, and we've got a number that is based on what they're
Okay.
building. Then there was another thing that said,
You have sole,
neither the company nor Walpole shall allow any additional connection to the water extension without prior written consent of all of the parties except to the extent required by law. But anyways, just to make sure that they do it the way we wanted it, I'm suggesting that we send a note to that effect to the zoning board, who I believe is meeting relatively soon on this,
Okay.
as well as the planning board, because I think they would then go before the planning board, usually it's ZBA and then the planning. And,
it should be addressed there.
yes,
Just for your edification, the answer from MWRA was that we don't know.
all right, so we're going to make sure that
All right,
they,
that's what's scary.
yes, we
But
want to make sure that
this
they,
is our water, Patrick, it's not, this is our domestic water, it's not wastewater.
That's right.
okay.
We already have a wastewater that you've already taken care
I
of.
believe we
actually,
had
they
a
were
second
talking
on
about-
my
they were talking
motion
about
to
sewer.
send a note to
Okay.
the planning board
The
and
hydrants don't have
ZBA.
anything to do with sewer.
All
I
those
don't
in
know.
favor?
I know that.
Aye.
Aye.
Except they do, because that's what the water. But here's what, if you
I can
have
second it if
a
necessary.
piece here, and you have sewage here.
Second.
Now, and you make this the lot, because you were talking about water, weren't you?
Yes, Patrick,
But
are
we're
you?
talking about sewer.
No, right now we're talking water. Are you in favor
Nice,
of
John.
sending a note to the ZBA?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we've got 400. We have a motion
All right.
to adjourn.
I don't
Second.
think you heard what I'm saying.
All those in
anyway.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no votes.
MWRA did.